Welcome guys to the Meet Damien live stream. We'll be talking about Bitcoin and some altcoins here, as well as some stocks. If you guys have any requests for stocks here, we'll first start off with Bitcoin as we usually do, and then we'll look at some of the altcoins and stocks that are out there that you guys want to talk about. Yeah, let's see. Bitcoin currently trading at $109,690. Basically near the previous all-time high that we had back here in January. You can see this little red dash line here. Bitcoin is trying to find support right above the January 20th high, where we saw Bitcoin get as high as 109,358. This is a level that traders and investors around the world are trying to defend right now if you're a bull. And if you're a bear, you're trying to push it past below that price, okay? And if the bears get their way with pushing the price of Bitcoin down, then they still have to fight up against this 100-day moving average sitting at $104,800 Bitcoin. This is also a level where Bitcoin was traded at sideways most of throughout June and towards the end of May of this past year of 2025. That is a significant level for us to break past through in my eyes, in my opinion, okay? And also just showing on the charts here. Now, if I pull up the VRVP, which is an indicator that we like to use, this is the green and red indicator to the right here, you'll see that we have some high volume here at about $104,000-$105,000 Bitcoin. And we also have this white line here. This is the value area low, okay? This value area low is an area where you would expect traders and investors to try to defend this level, since we're coming from above it and we would probably be coming down towards it. We might get a bounce. We should be getting a bounce off of that area. So you got the 100-day moving average, this blue line, and you got the value area low, this white line, acting as most likely heavy support to defend Bitcoin if it does get down to that level. That's why I think it's going to be tough for us to get Bitcoin to go below $100,000, because we first have to chew through this high volume area at basically 103,000 to 106,000 actually, in between this area right here. We have to chew through all that, and I'll give you the reason behind that. The reason behind that is everybody that bought here back in June and May of 2025, they're in profit right now. If Bitcoin goes down to $103,000, they'll just be back at break even, okay? Especially if they're first time investors in Bitcoin. They're gonna finally just say, all right, whatever, I'm back to break even again, okay? It's not until we actually lose $103,000 that these investors over here that bought Bitcoin back in May and June are gonna start sweating bullets, like, oh my god, I can possibly lose money in Bitcoin, right? So that's when they'll be anxious to click the sell button. If they are inclined to do so, it would be when Bitcoin gets below $103,000. Then we still have the 200-day moving average, which should act as support, and some traders, some technical traders out there like myself would probably try to at least throw our hat in the ring and try to see if we get a bounce off the 200-day moving average, okay? And that 200-day moving average is sitting at $100,900. That red number right here, $100,927. That is a level that I think the traders and investors would try to defend if we do get down to that level. And then if we break that, then we have to start to worry, okay? Because then we have to zoom out a little bit and we have to find out what the support might be. And we do have a high volume node here below 100K at 96K, okay? About like 96, 97K is a high volume area. But then we start losing that volume again and we get a gap in the VRVP. And now you're talking about maybe like 87K as a possible support area. And that's when it gets to be a little bit scary for Bitcoin. Let's see. My live is not eligible for recommendation. Alright, let me go ahead and appeal that. Okay. I'm doing a live stream here on TikTok and YouTube, guys. And I just got a complaint here from TikTok. TikTok is saying that my content is I don't know, not good for recommendations to other people here. So I just put an appeal just now. Anyways, I'm over here just reading the charts here for Bitcoin. And this is what I'm seeing with the VRVP data. Now I know there is a CME gap on Bitcoin. Let's take a look at that real quick. This is a gap, right? That some people have been looking at. That's saying that, oh, this gap has to get filled, or else, you know, like they're just saying that it has to get filled at some point. And if the higher we go, the harder we're gonna fall down to get back to that price. Let me go ahead and get rid of the VRVP for now. So we're looking at the daily time frame here, and the gap that people were talking about is this gap right here at 91 to 93K here. Okay, this gap didn't get filled. We just went up, and then we just went to the right, and then kept going up and to the right, and we never actually filled in that gap there. Okay, so this is a gap that I think one of my TikTok viewers brought to my attention yesterday, and I remembered about it, but I also forgot about it at the same time. So I'm glad that he brought that back, you know, to my attention here. But this is an area that we could end up coming back to if that 91, 93K area. If Bitcoin continues to go down and violates all these support levels that we have above us, or I should say support levels that we have below us, you know, between 103K and 106K, and then also, you know, the 200-day moving average was at like 101K. Once we start losing that, and then we lose the volume at the 97K area, then yeah, we could possibly come down to 93K. I'm not totally against it. You know, anything's possible in Bitcoin and cryptocurrency world. These assets, they go up and they go down, okay? And if they want to go down to that level, they could, okay? We're just dealing with probabilities. Like, what is the probability of that happening, and when is that going to happen? Like, the probability right now is low because Bitcoin's still at 109K and it has to break through some support levels to get down to that area. However, the probability is still there that we could go down to 93K. It's just, in my opinion, it's a low probability right now, okay? However, I do want to bring to your attention here, guys, what Bitcoin has done in the past, okay? Because it could give us an idea as like what to expect in the next month, in the next few weeks here. And if I go back to 2021, okay? Right, 4 years ago, if you guys are big believers in the 4-year cycle, okay, we did see Bitcoin, right? And I'm just using the futures here, which is kind of similar to the spot trading. It might not be exact numbers here, but we did see Bitcoin in like September of 2021, which is, guys, guess what? September for us is going to be in the next few days here, okay? So, and 4 years ago, in that 4-year cycle that we had in 2021, we saw Bitcoin at you know, $53,000 you know, here on the futures exchange, okay? That was the high water mark on Tuesday, September 7th. And then we dropped down. Look at this, right? Lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, you know. And we got down to, I think right here on Tuesday, September 21st, we got down to about $40,000 when we were as high as $53,000. Let me just measure that out here. I believe that's a 25% drop, but let me just double check the numbers here. Okay. Yeah, you're looking at a 25% drop. That was a 25% drop that happened during the most bullish year for Bitcoin in 2021. And that happened around September timeframe. What I'm trying to bring to your attention here, guys, with Bitcoin is that if we take that same 25% move, right, and we apply it to where the price is at today, okay, I'm not sure if it's going to even show here. I might have to redraw this, yeah, because the number's going to get big. But anyways, if I go back to to where we are right now, okay, and we do a 25% drop from the 124,000 mark that we had back here in August, August 14th. We saw Bitcoin at, you know, around the $124,000. Look at this. If I take us down to 25% drop here, look at that. Look at that blue number right there, 93K. That would fill in the Bitcoin futures gap. Could that be a possibility? Could that actually happen between now and next month, where Bitcoin is usually pretty weak around the month of September? It was weak last September, and it was weak the September before that. Could we get that again with this September? Could we get a 25% drop to scare the crap out of a lot of people with Bitcoin? Yeah, I think it could. But then that could also be just another higher low before we end up going to higher prices for Bitcoin, and go into, you know, the promised land where we see 200,000 on Bitcoin like later on this year, the same year that we dropped down to $93,000 Bitcoin, right? Could be a possibility. Could be a possibility. I'm just trying to open your eyes out here, guys, to the possibility that Bitcoin could drop down to 93K. I'm not totally against it. I think it's low probability, but it's still a probability. And yeah, if it did that, it would probably still be normal. It would probably still be normal. It would be scary, but it would also be normal in Bitcoin world, because we did that 4 years ago. That's what I'm trying to bring to your attention here with this live stream about Bitcoin. I know it's a little bit scary right now, but it could get scarier, and we could see 93K. All right. Anyways, let me get into the live chat, see what you guys have to say about the scary possibilities that I brought upon you guys here in this live stream. All right, I'm not seeing too many comments yet, but we'll go ahead. We'll continue on. We'll take a look at how Ethereum is doing, and then we'll take a look at Bitcoin dominance, see how the altcoin season is doing. Maybe we'll take a look at total market cap and total market cap for the altcoins as well, like total 2 and total 3 maybe. But yeah, let's get right into it. Let's take a look at Ethereum now. Looking at Ethereum on the daily time frame here, Ethereum is currently trading at $4,512. I actually caught a nice move up earlier this morning. I bought Ethereum right after Wall Street dumped it. I noticed they like to do that, especially if you had a good morning earlier or a good night, trying to get some positive price action going. Wall Street likes to dump on everybody, and then they send it back up just to frustrate the hell out of everybody. But I caught them after they dumped it. So anyways, that's what I did. I had a pretty successful morning of trading Ethereum. And right now Ethereum is currently trading at $4,513. And Ethereum is maintaining this uptrend. We drew this yellow trend line off of the 21 EMA. If the 21 EMA was to continue going forward like it is right now, this white line here, we could see, you know, in the middle of September, right, we could see a $5,000 Ethereum, right? X marks the spot right over here, $5,000 Ethereum at the very latest. Now, you know, Ethereum could go to $5,000 before the middle of September, all right? But if Bitcoin is going down to $90,000, and that I highly doubt that Ethereum is going to go up to $5,000, okay? And we'll probably end up breaking through this uptrend that we're in right now, this yellow line here, which is just an extension of the 21 EMA. Okay, but it's still, like, you know, it's pretty much the uptrend that Ethereum has been in since the beginning of August here. Okay, and I just think that if Ethereum continues on this uptrend and Bitcoin continues going up, not down, then yeah, you'll see a $5,000 Ethereum, and you'll probably see that in September, okay, or earlier. Could happen in the next few days. Could happen tomorrow. We just don't know with the craziness that you know, cryptocurrency markets move. You know, at any given point here. Let's see. We had a pretty good Friday here when Ethereum went up like $600 in one day. If we did that today, we could see $5,000 Ethereum later on today. If we had this same move here, going on today. Yeah, we could see a $5,000 Ethereum today, so it's not out of the realm of possibilities here. Now, let me just go into the Fibonacci here for Ethereum. Okay, I measured from the lows here back in April to the highs, high water mark here at $4,100. That was a mark that I had where Ethereum was at back here in December of 2024. So I think these numbers are still applicable. We have a 1272 fib extension at $4,874 Ethereum. We actually beat that mark, right? We got past that here on Sunday, so that was nice to see. If Ethereum was to continue going to higher prices, I still have the 1618 at $5,800. I think that's another take profit target for us to look at for Ethereum to the upside. That might happen sometime in September, October for Ethereum. All right, but to the downside targets here for Ethereum, I did have a buy zone that says that, you know, we probably should be aiming to buy Ethereum anywhere between 3,900 to like 4,200 seems to be a sweet spot. We kind of dipped down into that buy zone back here on August 19th and 20th, but we were only there for about a couple of days before we went back up to higher prices here for Ethereum. If Ethereum does drop down into this area, I think that's a good area for us to buy some more Ethereum if you're inclined to do so. Okay. I think that's a good buy zone as of now, and the reason why it's a good buy zone is because if I turn the VRVP indicator again, all right, there is a gap here. Okay, however, we do see that there is some volume here at $41 and $4,200, so there are people that have bought here that could act as a support zone for Ethereum. Okay. Also, the other reason why I had this as a buy zone was because a few days ago, or I should say maybe like a couple of weeks ago, 21 EMA was hanging out near $3,900. So that's why I drew that buy zone at $3,900 up to $4,200 here. Okay, I still think this is applicable. And if we do come down here and we trade sideways, this will actually fill in the gap here for the VRVP. All right, and you'll start seeing more higher volume nodes start showing up, especially if we trade there sideways for a little bit at the $4,200 level here. It will end up becoming a good support zone for Ethereum. All right, moving on from Ethereum. All right, I did downside targets. I think Ethereum can go down to $4,200. That'd be a good buy zone area. Upside target, we're looking for $5,800 Ethereum at some point here. Okay. And of course, we're looking for psychological $5,000 Ethereum if that's going to happen. Anyways, let's move on to we'll take a look at Bitcoin dominance. Okay, see how that's holding up here. Bitcoin dominance is down 1.1% today. So even though Bitcoin is having like a heart attack this week, the altcoins are doing quite all right. They're not doing so bad as Bitcoin is. Some of them are doing worse than Bitcoin. But for the most part, you know, as long as like Ethereum and XRP and Solana are holding up pretty well, which is like most of the market cap for the altcoins, then Bitcoin dominance is probably going to go down rather than up. And you can see that right now here. You see this candle getting bigger and redder here on the Bitcoin dominance chart. We would like to see some more red here and actually come down to what I'm expecting. I'm expecting Bitcoin dominance to actually come down to 56.8%. And if I get rid of the VRVP here, and this 56.8% is just a measured move from this bear flag that we had back in late July going into early August here. You know, this was just a measured move that I took from here when you know, we got the good news about stablecoin bill coming into play in July. All right, I just took that measured move, this little down move that we had here, and I put this towards like where the bear flag was forming. This was the flag, and you just put that measured move down here, and it tells us that we should see, like, you know, Bitcoin dominance get down to 56%, and I think we're well on our way to 56% on Bitcoin dominance. Now, when we get to 56%, you know, that's just a measured move, but is there anything here that tells us that Bitcoin dominance could level out and maybe bounce off and reject that area. If I look back to previous areas for Bitcoin dominance, we have seen like back here in January, Bitcoin dominance at 56.63%. And then also here around December 12th, we saw Bitcoin dominance at 56.8%. So, you know, that was the height of the altcoin season that we saw back in December of last year, going into January of this year. There might be some pushback from Bitcoin, or at least there might be some profit taken from the altcoin holders. They might think that they can't push Bitcoin dominance lower than 56%, at least not for now. So I think, you know, when we see Bitcoin dominance get down to 56%, I think we should consider clicking the sell button on some of our altcoins just to be taking profits, you know, because you don't lose money taking profits. And maybe just maybe that the reason why the Bitcoin dominance would go up to higher percentages, like back to like 60%, would because Bitcoin is actually going to higher prices. If Bitcoin goes to higher prices, like if we see $140,000, $150,000 Bitcoin, then yeah, Bitcoin dominance is going to go back up, you know, probably to 60%. Or maybe 62%. That would be ideal. The most ideal situation would be that the altcoins just kind of chill out for a little bit, and then Bitcoin goes to higher prices. Now, if Bitcoin dominance is going up because Bitcoin is dropping down to $90,000, and the altcoins are dropping in further and faster than Bitcoin, then yeah, Bitcoin dominance will go up, but that's not an ideal situation. That would be that'd be like a nightmare situation if Bitcoin drops and then the altcoins are dropping faster and harder than Bitcoin. Yeah, then yeah, that would send Bitcoin dominance back up to 60%, but it would hurt the altcoins a lot. Okay, so I'm not sure what kind of situation we're gonna get, what kind of scenario we're gonna get. Is Bitcoin going to go to $140,000 and then the altcoins just kind of chill out and wait their turn? Or is the Bitcoin gonna stop dropping down to, like, you know, below 100K, and then the altcoins start dropping and having a heart attack as well? I don't know. I'm hoping the first scenario actually plays out. That seems like a better scenario in my opinion. So I got Ricky Ricardo in the YouTube chat here. What are you saying, Ricky? You bought the top yesterday and you bought the dip today. Just keep stacking before the train leaves the station. Oh, that's a positive attitude to have in this kind of market that we got. Let's see, what is Bitcoin? Bitcoin is down slightly right now, down 0.39%, but we see Ethereum is up 3%, Solana up 2.5%, XRP up 3%. We're trying to do like a turnaround Tuesday. That's why I titled the video Turnaround Tuesday. Usually the markets have a really bad Monday and then the following day, which would be Tuesday or today, we try to erase the bad price action that we had on Monday. So I think that's what's going on in the markets today. So you might be doing all right with buying right now, Bitcoin, and buying. You said you bought the top yesterday, and then now you bought the dip today. Could be a winning strategy. You know, Bitcoin at 109K is a lot better than, you know, it's a lot better buying Bitcoin at 109K than buying it at 115, 120K. Okay, so you are getting a little bit of a dip. But anyways, moving on from Bitcoin dominance. So, you know, with Bitcoin dominance being as low as it is right now and possibly heading lower, I think we can still say that we're in the beginnings of an altcoin season here. As long as you're below this 200-day moving average, this red line is sitting at 62.79% on Bitcoin dominance, I would consider it an altcoin season. If you get Bitcoin dominance to get right back up to that 200-day moving average, then yeah, that's probably the end of the altcoin season. You should probably consider selling your altcoins and getting into something else, whether it's going back into Bitcoin or going into cash or whatever, Tether. Okay, I think you can still hold on to your altcoins to see if they'll go to higher prices here because you're below that 200-day moving average on the Bitcoin dominance. So that's just my opinion. That's how my criteria for altcoin season. Below the 200-day moving average on Bitcoin dominance, you're in altcoin season. All right. Moving on from there, we'll take a look at the. I actually want to look at US dollar tether dominance. Okay. That's the amount of tether that's out there, and how much money people are putting into Tether versus crypto, and we want to see Tether dominance go down as well. Okay. Tether dominance, if it does continue going down like it has been going down ever since the beginning of April here, a level that I want to watch out for is 3.74%, because it seems like when we get down to that level, we get like a bounce back off of that level. Okay, 3.74% seems to be a bounce. It was a level that we almost got down to here back in March of 2024 as well. It's also a level that we bounced off of here in March of 2022, and it acted as resistance throughout the bear market of 2022. Okay, so I think this is a number to pay attention to. Right now, Tether dominance is at 4.4%, but when we get down to 3.7%, that might be a signal for us to start selling our altcoins, start selling our Bitcoin, and think about getting back into Tether and back in the cash, because that might actually be signaling the top of this this crypto cycle, or maybe the top of crypto for 2025. Okay, because look, like back here in January of 2025, that was the top of that altcoin season that we had in December and January. Okay, that was the top. So if we get back down to 3.7% again here in like September, October, November, later on this year, I'm expecting that to possibly be the top, at least for this year. I'm not sure when this cycle is going to end. I kind of have an idea, and I'm going to be using the Pi cycle indicator as well as some other indicators to figure out when the top is in for Bitcoin and crypto. But this Tether dominance is just another chart to look at, another indicator to figure out when the top of crypto is in. And I think that's going to be at this 3.7% Tether dominance number right here. That's the number I'm going to be looking for later on in the next few months and few weeks here. Alright, so that's Tether dominance. That's what I'm getting out of Tether dominance. Let's look at total market cap. See what total market cap. I haven't looked at total market cap in a while, but let's see what it's been doing. The amount of money that's in crypto right now is $3.76 trillion. About $27 billion went into it today. We're up 0.7%. It's good to see. But you can see here with total market cap, we are kind of in this huge, let me just go into the weekly chart. We're in this huge rising wedge. Okay, this is a wedge that's rising up. Okay. And rising wedges, they are usually bearish. They will break down most of the time to the downside. Okay. However, there is a possibility that we do break out to the upside here, and we're towards the top end of this wedge here for total market cap. I understand why there's some bears out there who are getting bearish about crypto and bearish about the amount of money that's in crypto right now. Okay, if the bears have their way, then we could end up coming right back down, probably to the middle of this rising wedge, where that 21 EMA, this white line, is hanging out at. That's at $3.38 trillion. That'd be the same kind of money that we had back here in May of 2025. Even more violent would be if we actually came down further past that 21 EMA. It actually came down to the 50 EMA, which is hanging at $2.52 trillion. That would be the bottom of this rising wedge. And if we actually come down to that level there, I would probably try to buy some more crypto, because eventually I would expect a bounce back as we try to continue going into this rising wedge that we're in. I'm going to have to extend the lines here a little bit more here. Okay. But I'm just trying to highlight the fact to you guys that the amount of money that's in crypto right now is a lot. And we're in this rising wedge formation, which, the market structure means that we need to be cautious. We could still be bullish. We could rise out of the wedge and go even higher than what wedge is showing us right now. But there's also a high probability that we could also come down. So I'm just putting that out there as a cautionary. You could be cautiously optimistic on crypto, but be ready to have your stop losses in, and be okay with crypto coming down to lower prices because that's what the market structure is showing that we could possibly do here. John 316 says that Donald Trump bought some Kronos. Big news, 6.5 Kronos. Trump bought. Told you that. You told me that Kronos is going to the moon. Smash the like button. Yep, well, definitely smash the like button if you guys haven't done that already. Let's go ahead and get the likes to match the amount of comments, amount of people that are in the stream right now. And for my TikTok guys, I'm sorry, but like TikTok is being rude to me by not recommending my live stream. So I'm going to end this live stream and start it all over again. Just try to rejoin and get back on it again, okay? But I'm gonna end this TikTok stream and see if I can get some more people to show up here and get some more likes on this live stream, okay? So let me go ahead and do that. I'm gonna restart this TikTok live stream. All right, be right back. Bear with me in one minute here. All right. Alright, so I got the TikTok live stream restarted, rebooted here. Let's see if you know, things go better on this new stream here for TikTok. Alright, so I'm assuming you know, John wants to look at Kronos here. We'll take that as one of the first requests here. Appreciate that request. I did want to look at total market cap 3, see how that's doing here. Total market cap 3 is the market cap of crypto minus Bitcoin and Ethereum. So basically this is your altcoins, and that's sitting at like $1.03 trillion. You can see that we're creating higher lows here on the weekly time frame here. However, we've been making lower highs here. I would want to see us get above the high water mark here that we did back in December of last year when we saw total 3 as high as $1.16 trillion. Okay. But right now, like, we still have lower highs being formed right now. Let's get past this supply line here. This is going to act as a resistance for now. Let's get past that, you know, that $1.11 trillion mark here. And I think we could be off to the races here on the cryptocurrency world here. However, if we were to come down to lower prices here, we do have the 21 EMA on the weekly time frame acting as support at $906 billion. Let me go into the daily time frame here. Daily time frame, you know, we do have a 50 moving average acting as support here at $927 billion. So that's something to keep in mind here. If we were to go down, we might only lose about $100 billion before we get a bounce off of that 50 moving average on the green line there. Alright, guys, if you go ahead and hit that like button, and for my TikTok streamers, you go ahead and smash go ahead and double tap the screen, your phone screen here to send a like. I appreciate that, you know, a lot here for giving you guys this free technical analysis using the charts here. Alright, we'll move on from total market cap 3 to Kronos. Let's go ahead and take a look at Kronos now. I hope that Kronos is doing well today with that good bit of news about Donald Trump. Wow. Okay, I see what you mean now, John. Kronos is up 30% today. Congratulations. Time to take profit. Time to take some profit, because look at this. Kronos has already hit the 1618 fib extension level here. This 19-cent level that we were looking at, you're trading at 20 cents for Kronos right now. And that, you know, 19-cent level was a level that we were looking at because a lot of people that bought here back in December, November of last year, they're now back at break even. So, you know, those people that have endured all the pain of being, you know, going through like this bear market here on Kronos, right? They're now back at break even. If they want to take their money and do something else with it besides being in Kronos, they can do that now. And I just think, you know, you should probably click the sell button on Not financial advice, but you should probably sell something here because that's a pretty good juicy gain right there. Even for cryptocurrency world, that's a pretty good gain right there. If you were to hold on and this thing was to flag out, you might start flagging out back towards this 1272 fib extension level here at about 16-17 cents, that 0.1685 penny level here. Okay, but very good to see with Cronos. I'm gonna probably have to redraw the chart, redraw the fibs here, but you did it after all this trouble that we had back here, where we saw Cronos get as low as 8 cents in July, like around 4th of July. It's been a good couple of months here for Cronos investors here. I'm happy for you guys. Okay, but yeah, I think be careful, be wary. You could see yourself come right down to 16-17 cents, which is the high water mark here that we had back here in August 11th. That could get retested before you go up to higher prices. Also, if we do go to higher prices here for Cronos, I think the 2618 is still in play here. 26 cents, okay? I believe that's like a 30% move from where you are right now. Let's see. Yep, about 28, maybe 30% up. You could probably squeeze out another 30% move here on Cronos. And yeah, that 26-cent level is basically the same level that Cronos was at when it first started trading here on Coinbase Exchange back in November of 2021. Alright, so I think that's another target for you to look for. Just using the Fibonacci and also using previous price action here. Alright. Let's see. Do I have any comments, guys? If you have any other cryptocurrencies you want me to take a look at, go ahead and let me know which one you want me to take a look at. Doomy says, can you chart Bitcoin? We did talk about Bitcoin early in the stream here, but sure, let's see what Bitcoin is doing. We'll go back to Bitcoin. Bitcoin trading at $109,833. I have charted out Bitcoin using Fibonacci from $98,000 to high water mark at $124,500. Bitcoin, just using Fibonacci here, if it was to go down lower, we could get a bounce in support off 108,300. I think we actually already did that. We came down to 108,670, I believe, last night. Yeah, and that's close enough. It doesn't have to be exact, but we are getting a reaction off this 0.32 Fibonacci level here. This is also kind of like where the previous all-time high was for Bitcoin. Let's see, back in November, we saw Bitcoin get up to 108,388. So that is a previous all-time high back in November of last year. Of course, we have the previous all-time high in January of this year at 109,358. So we're kind of in between those two areas right now. This should be a support zone for Bitcoin, okay? Where we're at right now. And we just want to get ourselves back up into gear and get up to higher prices and try to reclaim this 0.5 retracement at 111,400, which is where that 50-day moving average is. So you got some confluence there. I think if Bitcoin was to go to higher prices between now and later on this week or even tomorrow, I think 111,400 is an area where Bitcoin might get rejected. Now, we don't want to see a rejection where we make a lower high and then go down to lower prices. Because if we make a lower high and go down to lower prices, we might have to then find support here at this 100-day moving average at 104,800, which is also confluent with that $104,500 level here for Bitcoin. Okay. So these are the levels I'm looking for. If we lose $108,000 Bitcoin, I think 104, 105,000 is coming up next, based on the 100-day moving average, based on the Fibonacci here. And then if we lose that, then we have a last line of defense here at your 200-day moving average. That's your red line here at $100,900 Bitcoin, basically $101,000 Bitcoin. Don't lose that. Because if we lose that, then of course, yeah, you're gonna see $90,000 Bitcoin. And we already talked about this earlier in the live stream. It looks like $93,000 Bitcoin could be where we end up getting support at and filling in the CME gap at $93,000. So those are your downside targets for Bitcoin. Upside targets, I still think the Fibonacci is in play, and maybe later on in September, if things get more bullish and we've got some bullish catalysts like an interest rate cut from the Federal Reserve coming into play here, we could see $131,000 Bitcoin, and that's that 1272 fib extension level. And then maybe later on in 2025, we see $140,000 Bitcoin, which is your 1618 Fibonacci extension level. Mike Lane wants to look at Microsoft. I could have sworn we looked at Microsoft yesterday, but we could take a look at it again today. Is there anything in particular about Microsoft you want me to look at? Let me see if I have any other requests here. Visual P says, what if we are not in an upcoming bull run and everybody get hyped with FOMO? That could be a possibility. The bull run could be over. Like, I know some people have said that, you know, this is a double top here for Bitcoin between 123,000 and 124,000. That could be a double top for now. And that might be the reason why we have to come see, you know, $101,000 Bitcoin, which is the 200-day moving average is sitting at. We might have to come down there just to generate some more demand and interest from possible Bitcoin buyers out there that want to get in that Bitcoin at lower prices than where we're at right now. There's nothing that says that this is you know, that we have to go to higher prices, and there's nothing in here that says that we have to go to lower prices. You know, we just take it day by day here in the markets. But what I'm seeing here is that we do have support at $104,000. Okay, and then we have more support at $101,000. You know, before we, you know, stick a fork in Bitcoin and call it done, we do have some support levels below us that we built and created over the you know, last few weeks and months here for Bitcoin. Okay, so it's not over yet. It's not the end yet. Okay, but you know, we could be in for some choppiness going into September. It is usually a weak period for Bitcoin, and I would not be surprised if we do see Bitcoin go below 100K. All right, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see Bitcoin go to 130, 140K either. All right. But anyways, let's move on. We'll take a look at Microsoft because that is a request that we got from Mike Lane here. All right. Visual P, you think we're in a bearish downtrend on Bitcoin and crypto? Starting when? When did that downtrend start? Because we've been in an upward bullish trend since 2022. All right, let's see. And you said that you have the same TA as me. Well, I think you should have the same TA because we're all looking at the same chart. It all depends on what you're able to gather from that chart. You know, where you're drawing your fibs and, you know, what indicators you're looking at here. But anyways, let's get into Microsoft here. Microsoft is currently trading at $500.87, down 0.69% today. Still in a you know, getting a correction here. Very interesting that we saw Microsoft get up as high as like $555 on July 31st. I think that was like right after their earnings report. Was it a surprise to the upside? It was. They had a surprise to the upside on their earnings, and also a surprise to the upside on their revenue. I'm not sure if that was justified to send it up. You know, it gapped up here, but like we closed Wednesday, July 30th at like $513, and then the next day we went up to like $555. Almost like a 10% move up in price. That's a little bit crazy. So anyways, I like a kind of like a blow off top here for Microsoft. Now you're creating some lower highs here in the daily time frame. And how much lower can you go? I think we're still gonna be heading, if we continue to go lower prices, you might get a reaction and a bounce off of this golden pocket level here at $475 and $482. That's your 0.618 and 0.65 Fibonacci retracement. It looks like also for the guys that like to use moving averages, you have the 50-day moving average. This green line is racing to the crime scene here to try and help out. And by the time the price gets down to where the moving average is climbing up to, it might actually meet up at this golden pocket level, right? This going down like that, and this going up like this. I think that's 475, 480 level is the level to look for some cheaper Microsoft, and also a bounce off that level there. But I don't think Microsoft has ever been up as high as it is right now at these prices here. Yeah, we never seen Microsoft at these prices, so we don't really have that much data to go off of. It has been a crazy bull run for Microsoft ever since like the end of April here. And then also they had a really good earnings report, which caused it gapped up and then just continuing up and up and to the right here. I think that's probably what some people thought was going to happen with this earnings report here in July. They probably thought it was going to gap up and then go up and to the right. And it didn't. I'm not sure why. I don't really follow Microsoft to know why it wasn't able to continue its momentum to the upside. However, if it was able to continue its momentum to the upside, there was a 1272 fib extension level that said that we could see a $613 Microsoft later on in the future here, but I just don't think that's going to happen because it looks like we're just coming down to retrace to the 618 fib 618 fib retracement level here. Yeah. Maybe later on in 2026 you might see $600 Microsoft. But the way things are going right now, it's kind of hard to see that being a high probability right now. Mike wants to see them run it back to $512. All right, let's see. Mike, why do you need $512? Are you doing options trading? Is that why you need it back at $512? User wants me to look at the Bitcoin to US dollar tether market. Oh, alright, so you're underwater because you bought at $512. Okay. Well, the market's gonna do whatever the market's gonna do. And you're probably just gonna have to wait until it gets back to 512. But 512 was a 768 retracement level, so I understand why you got in at that price, because that was a retracement level, which made sense to get in at if this thing was gonna be overly bullish. You know, if this thing was overly bullish, then that's all you usually get out of a correction, is like you get the 786 retracement. However, looks like we're heading further to lower prices, and looks like we're getting a normal retracement, which takes you down to the 618. So I think you could buy some more Microsoft at 475 if you have the extra cash, and if you're, you know, feel compelled to do so, you could buy some here at this price. All right, but we take it level by level. If we lose this level, then we might have to go lower to like 450. That's your 0.5 retracement, and I think by the time these moving averages below you, the 100 and 200, gets up to 450 here, it will be confluent with the 450 level, and you probably get a bounce, a reaction off of that level as well. All right, let's see. Let's go ahead and take a look at. You want to look at Bitcoin to US dollar. So usually we just look at Bitcoin to US dollar. I don't know why you want to look at dollar tethered dominance. Can I even type that in? Let me see. BTC to USDT. On Binance maybe. It's kind of trading at the same price as Bitcoin to US dollar. Right now we see BTC USD on Binance is trading at 109,890. And I just think, you know, Bitcoin needs to reclaim this 50-day moving average at 111,500. Get above that, and then we could just say this was a bad dream and a correction here, and then we could see higher prices for Bitcoin. I think if we could get back above this $111,000 area, then you'll probably see some resistance at 116,000, and then some more resistance between 116 to 119,000. Because Bitcoin hasn't really stayed above $120,000. Every time we get above $120,000, we get pushed back down. The same day, actually. Let's see, we actually came out to $120,000 here on August 12th. And we stayed at 120,000, and then the next day we went up to higher prices. And we only went up there for like one day. And then the next day we went up a little bit higher, and then we lost it all. So you only been above $120,000 for like 2 days. I think $119,000 is going to be a tough resistance area for Bitcoin to get past. Head and shoulder pattern on what? What are we looking at here? Head and shoulder pattern, and on what time frame? And head and shoulder pattern on what asset are we looking at? Visual P. Hey, Porky's in the chat here. Oh, and wow, Crypto Princess. Oh my God. So I guess the YouTube the YouTube guys and gals are in the chat now. Must be that time. Let me go ahead and give out some shout outs here. First of all, if you guys haven't already, don't forget to check out Meet Damien channel here on YouTube. Go ahead and do a subscribe if you haven't already, and check out some of my videos here. But we have another crypto analyst, I guess you can call us, and that is Porky Flounder. He also looks at stocks as well. Okay, not just a one-trick pony, and neither am I. Okay, you can take the TA and go back and forth between crypto and stocks here, but guys, go ahead and check out Porky Flounder when you get a chance. He is trying to build up his following here, but he goes live usually later on in the day, around 9 p.m., 10 p.m. Eastern time, and he usually goes live every day for the most part. I think today is one of his members only live stream, so you might not be able to put in a request unless you're a member. So if you do subscribe and you like his TA, then you should become a member for Porky Flounder, and then you'll be able to comment and put in a request during his member only streams, and I think that's today. And then, you know, he does do non-member streams as well, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So you can put your request in for his TA as well. So go ahead and take a look at Porky Flounder. Go ahead and check out his videos and give him a subscribe if you haven't already. And then we also have a Crypto Princess is in the chat. And Crypto Princess, I saw your live stream earlier, but I was in the middle of getting my live stream started here myself, and I was like, oh, let me go check out maybe 10 minutes of her live stream, and then you ended your live stream. You ended your live stream right when I was about to jump on it. But anyways, yeah, Crypto Princess has a pretty good following here as well, 20,000 subscribers, and I guess she goes, she calls herself a woman in crypto. She has a very lovely British voice. I love her voice. It's very soothing and very knowledgeable. I don't think she really does TA or look at the charts, but she does talk about the fundamentals of crypto. And I looked at some of her videos, and she does shorts here about particular cryptocurrencies you guys might be interested in, like HBAR, Sui, Ondo, Render, Binance, and gives you a good explanation and understanding about those cryptocurrencies and why you might want to get into them. So yeah, go ahead and take a look at Crypto Princess's videos and streams here, and don't forget to give her a subscribe as well. I'm subscribed, so go ahead and check her out. and check out her videos. All right, back to Bitcoin here. Oh, look at that. Bitcoin deciding to get back up to 110K here. I'm a little curious if I actually got stopped out of my Solana trade. How's Solana doing here real quick? Let me just go look at that. So Solana at $193. Okay, hopefully I didn't get stopped out. Porky, are you I'm curious, Porky, what trades are you in this morning, this afternoon? Right now I'm in Solana. I actually was in Ethereum earlier this morning, and that one went pretty well for me. I got stopped out in profit. I was trying to push it up to I was trying to push Ethereum up to like $4,600, but we didn't get that before we started coming back down again. But a little bit curious what you're doing here with your trades. Oh, you just got into a 100x long on Bitcoin. Yes, I wish you luck. I wish all of us luck, man. We had a pretty brutal couple of days here in cryptocurrency world. Enough to give people a good scare after we had, good news on Friday sending the markets up. It just totally like blows my mind away that we actually had a bad weekend and a bad Monday like that. But hopefully we're getting a little bit of recovery here. We'll see. Let's see. I'm doing TikTok on my phone here and doing YouTube live stream, and I'm trying to catch up on the comments here on my TikTok. See what you guys said here. Yep, so let me just catch up here. Yeah, so we are looking at the Bitcoin chart right now, Visual P. And you said you saw a head and shoulders pattern. I'm a little curious, what time frame are you looking at for the head and shoulder pattern? Are you gonna count this as a left shoulder and then a head right here? We're on the daily time frame for Bitcoin. And then are you counting this as the right shoulder here? Because I know some TA analysts were looking at this as a double bottom. This was a double bottom, left and a right bottom, but then we violated it over the last few days here. So this double bottom pattern has been invalidated for now. Now I see something more like this, right? I'm seeing a falling wedge here on Bitcoin. And for those who know about falling wedges are bullish patterns here. Usually they break out to the upside. Okay, maybe that's what we're getting with Bitcoin, but I'm having a hard time visualizing your head and shoulder pattern that you mentioned. You said that was on Bitcoin, and I'm having a hard time visualizing that right now. Because this would be what you're gonna call this the left shoulder, and then this is the head, and then what was this the right shoulder? It didn't even form. It wasn't even a right shoulder to form before we lost it. But let's just go with with your bias towards it being a head and shoulder pattern. If this was the head and this is the neckline, then you just take this measure move to like where you're breaking down from that neckline. And okay, yeah, I can see that if this was a head and shoulder pattern, if that's what you're gonna call it, then we could see Bitcoin come to that blue number at $102,000 Bitcoin, which is kind of confluent with. It puts you right in between the 100-day and the 200-day moving average. 200-day moving average sitting at 100,900, and you got the 100-day at 104,800. That puts you smack dab in between the two. So I don't know, maybe. This just looks like a deformed right shoulder, if you're gonna call it a head and shoulder pattern, though. Doesn't look as pretty as it could possibly be, but I guess. I'm open to both possibilities here. I know markets can go up and they can go down. Any of these assets can go up and down. All right, let's see. Crypto Princess. What is Crypto Princess saying here? Let's see. Good day, ladies and gentlemen. John 3:16, Porky and Rocky. Okay. All right. She's just saying hello to some people here. And Porky, you're only in Bitcoin. Why did you choose just to do Bitcoin and not like, Ethereum or Solana or some of the other altcoins out there? I'm a little bit curious why you chose just Bitcoin for today. Is it because it's a little bit scary out there? I did some only Bitcoin trades like last night. I was trying to get into Bitcoin with 100x long, just like you. And I got stopped out a couple of times. I was like, all right, things are a little bit too volatile right now. Okay, so anytime you get mixed signals, you only trade Bitcoin. Okay, well, you got to have your criteria, and you know you got to understand the market that you're trading in. And if you only feel comfortable trading Bitcoin, I get it. I get it, you know. Because, you know, Bitcoin, although it can be volatile, these other altcoins can be even more volatile, and I totally get it. But I thought it was worth taking a shot on Ethereum earlier today. Let's take a look at Ethereum. I want to take a look at Ethereum on the 5-minute chart. And I also thought it was worth getting into Solana as well, because I know those two like to move as well, and they have some ETF money behind them to get them moving. So that's good to see. But what I did early this morning, Porky, on my Ethereum, I knew I wanted to get into Ethereum if we were going to get a turnaround Tuesday like we're kind of getting right now. But I waited though. I waited until Wall Street decided to open up and go and do business today, because Wall Street, what they do is these punks. I don't, you know, I don't want to say too rude of a words here, but these guys on Wall Street, what did they did? They pumped Ethereum up, right, from like the lows here at 825, you know, 825 Eastern time here. We saw Ethereum trading at like 44.14, and we got that nice little pump, you know, going into like right when Wall Street was about to open up around 9 o'clock. We saw Ethereum at like 45.37, okay? And then what did they do? Okay, as soon as they open up for business here, they bring us right back down to the 50 moving average here on the 5-minute time frame at like 44.36, and just wiped out anybody that thought like they were catching the pump here. And I wasn't that good, you know. I still gave it some time, but around like 10 o'clock in the morning Eastern time here is when I started to take a nibble on Ethereum, okay? And then that's when I was able to, you know, catch this little pump up to higher prices at 11 o'clock. I didn't sell the top, you know, but this is where I put in, you know, I put in my stop loss. You know, I put my stop loss right at this level here, okay? I figured like, hey, you know, if they bring it down to this level, then who knows, maybe it goes down further, okay? But yeah, I got stopped out like right here around like 11 o'clock in the morning, at like 45.30 for Ethereum, and I was trying to push it up to like 4,600 bucks. We didn't actually get up to 4,600 bucks, but I still made a good profit just catching this little move here. And who knows, maybe we might be able to do something like that later on this afternoon. But now I'm in a Solana trade. I'm trying to trade Solana. Let's see how Solana is doing on the 5-minute time frame. Solana's doing pretty well on the 5-minute time frame. Getting a little bit further ahead of itself from this 21 EMA. I like using the 21 EMA, especially on the smaller time frames. The price usually comes back to that 21 EMA is what I've noticed. Okay, so there's a possibility that, you know, if we lose this uptrend that we're in, and this little bull run move that we're getting on Ethereum, on Solana on the 5-minute time frame, we could come back to that 21 EMA at $191.72. And this is where you have to make a decision. Do you want to get out of the trade, or do you want to add to the trade? I might decide to add to the trade, because I think, you know, we're making higher highs here on the 5-minute time frame. And I think Solana will be, my take profit on Solana is going to be right above this $195 area here. I actually was targeting $197 because that was an area that we were trading at back here yesterday. Actually, we were trading at $197. So I see this sideways trading action here. This is my take profit for my Solana long that I'm in right now. All right, getting back to the chat here. We're looking at let's see, Chris is in the chat, and Donovan. Donovan says April lows, watch out. Okay. They've been saying that since April. April lows, watch out. Alright, now we're in May. April lows, watch out. Alright, now we're in June and July. April lows, watch out. Okay, now we're about to go into September. Alright, April lows, watch out. I mean, it sounds ridiculous. You sound ridiculous when you say that. Because there's no guarantee that we're actually going to go back to the April lows. Alright. Chris Cook says, how about Reactive Network? Let me take a Reactive Network, and then we got a request here for Dogecoin. Alright, we'll take a look at Reactive. Let me get back into the daily time frame here. And then, yeah, let's look at Dogecoin after that. Reactive Network. Oh, okay, there it is. See it on KuCoin. Alright. Reactive Network trading at roughly 6.5 pennies, up 7.5% today. Looks like it started trading on KuCoin on March of 2025. And just like typical altcoin fashion, it's just been making lower highs and lower lows ever since it got onto the exchange. Disappointing all these investors here that bought here in March. Okay. Very typical, very normal of altcoins. I can see that. And then looks like we've kind of bottomed out. Looks like the lows for the years came in on June 6th here at 0.0174 pennies. I'm just becoming familiar. I'm just familiarizing myself with the chart here. I've never seen this asset before, so just bear with me. Just trying to get the story and the background behind this asset. Looks like we have highs here that came in on July 25th at like 9 pennies, and then we have a lower high here at 8.5 pennies. So let me just draw that out here. You're making lower highs. Okay. And then let's see. You are saving yourself by making higher lows here, I believe. Yeah, I don't know. Do I want to do it like that? Kind of move it like that. There we go. Okay. So you got an uptrend and a downtrend. You got basically like a symmetrical triangle here out of Reactive Network. And you might be catching the lows for now. This might have been the higher low that you're looking for. And if this thing does continue going up to higher prices, I would expect maybe a rejection at like 8 pennies here. And just make another lower high like you did here on August 14th. I would be pleasantly surprised if you actually get past 8 pennies and actually just make the same kind of high that you had here back on August 14th, where you get back up to like 8.5 pennies again. But I wouldn't be bullish on this asset until you can show that we can actually make higher highs here. Get past the high back here on July 25th. Show me that you can get past 0.093 pennies. And then I would start to be bullish on this asset. And I would say, yeah, you're in an uptrend because you're making higher lows and making higher highs. But right now, you're only making higher lows. You're not making higher highs. So I cannot be bullish on this asset until you're able to do that. Now let me go ahead and draw out the Fibonacci for ya. We'll measure from like down here at like 2 pennies to the swing high here at 9 pennies. And I'll go from here to here, like that. Okay. And let's see. Just look at some previous history here. You have, looks like it came down to the 0.236 retracement. Almost, yeah, kind of, sort of. Alright, so you had a pretty deep pullback. And now you're making yourself back up to the golden pocket here. The golden pocket is at 0.618 at 0.067 pennies. Looks like you were at that level just a few days ago, before this bad weekend in crypto. Okay. So you're trying to get up to that 618 Fibonacci retracement level. And then I'm expecting, yeah, 0.786 could act as a resistance. Remember I said 8 pennies could possibly be a resistance area. That would be confluent with this 0.786 level here. And then if you can get past 0.093 pennies, then you got the 1272 fib extension saying that this thing could get some resistance at 11 pennies, and then the 1618 saying that you could get some resistance at 13.5 pennies here. So these are your long-term take profit target areas here. 11 pennies and 13.5 pennies. And if you get to 13.5 pennies, you just doubled your money in this asset. If you're in it right now, you doubled whatever you have in it. Not financial advice, but I would click the sell button if I doubled my money. Yeah. So that's upside targets for Reactive Network. Downside, don't lose this uptrend that you're kind of in right now. But downside, you could come down to the 100-day moving average, which is starting to show up on the chart here, that blue line at 5 pennies. And then you got more support probably at this 50-day moving average sitting at 4 pennies. Alright, we got a request for H bar. Let me go ahead and write that down. H bar. And then we also got to look at Dogecoin. Yeah, Dogecoin's coming up next. Alright. Refuge Villa is asking me how much do you need to start and what brokers to use. You can start with whatever amount of money that you have to put into crypto or stocks. I see some people start with like 10 or 20 bucks, and they do that every week, and then it adds up over time. That's called dollar cost averaging. And what brokers, you have to figure out what brokers you want to use, but usually people use like the lowest cost brokers that they can find. And I know one of the popular ones is Robinhood. A lot of people like using Robinhood for stocks and crypto. For cryptocurrency exchanges, here in America, they got Kraken and Coinbase. Those are good places for someone new to start. They've been around for a while, so I think you don't have to worry about them having any issues going out of business or whatever, but still risky, having all your money on an exchange, so keep that in mind. But yeah, I know stock market wise, like in cryptocurrency wise, you can trade using Robinhood. That's a good place a lot of people start off with. And then there's some other ones like Charles Schwab. They're not into crypto like Robinhood is, but that's a good stockbroker if you're looking to get into stocks. And then they also have the Bitcoin and Ethereum ETF and Solana ETFs on Charles Schwab, so you can do that if you want to stick to a stockbroker. All right, let's look at Dogecoin. And I see you, Joe, in the chat. We got Trade Intuition. I'll give a shout out after I do Dogecoin here. We got a Trade Intuition raid. Oh no! All right, look at that Dogecoin currently trading at 21 cents here. And wow, I got all these rainbow color looking colors here on the chart. I drew the Fibonacci here from 14 cents, which is what the low was at for Dogecoin on June 22nd. And I measured to the swing high here at 28 cents. And it gave me these Fibonacci numbers to look for here. These fib levels. Let me just make sure this is locked in. All right, that's locked in. Okay, all right. So, Dogecoin, right? Trying to maintain support above this 50-day moving average, this green line at 20 cents. Okay, 20 cents, also kind of like a psychological number for a lot of people. All right, I think if Dogecoin loses 20 cents, then people might freak out and they might give up on crypto, and we could see Dogecoin go to like maybe 18 cents here before it gives us a fake out and goes up to higher prices. That's your 0.236 retracement level. But there is a lot of support here at 20 cents here for Dogecoin. You got your 100-day moving average, which is at like 19.5 pennies. You got your 200-day, which is at roughly 20 pennies. You got your 50-day, which is also kind of at a little bit above 20 pennies. So 20 cents is a good support area, in my opinion, for Dogecoin. And you're only about a penny and a half above that, so you might be catching the lows here. And if you are catching the lows here, and we are going to see higher prices for Dogecoin, we could get some resistance off of this golden pocket here at the 618, 0.23 pennies here, and also 0.65, retracing saying 0.237 pennies here. Could be resistance for Dogecoin. Once you get past this resistance though, you might get a little bit more resistance at 25-26 pennies, which is your 786 retracement, which we kind of got rejected off of here on August 14th. So that could be your first take profit target if you're day trading it, or swing trading it maybe. Take it up to 25-26 pennies and sell it. But eventually you want to see yourself push yourself past that level and try to get back up to 28 pennies like you did here on July 21st. When you saw Dogecoin almost at like 29 pennies here. These are the levels that we're gonna have to work with for Dogecoin, right? Don't go lower than 20 pennies, and then there might be some resistance at 23 and some resistance at 25-26 pennies. But once we can get past like 28-29 pennies, then there is a 1272 fib extension at 32 pennies and then a 1618 at 37 cents for Dogecoin here. But you got some work to do here for Dogecoin, and you're still making lower highs here. Like if I go ahead and get rid of this for now, you're still making lower highs here on Dogecoin. All right, get past this downtrend here. Let's try to actually make higher highs here, and then we can become more bullish here on Dogecoin. But yeah, that's what I see with Dogecoin in a nutshell. Let's go ahead and we'll take a look at HBAR, and then we'll look at Near Protocol. And we'll do that after I give out my shout out to Trade Intuition in the chat. So I got like 3 different YouTubers that showed up on my live stream here. Appreciate you guys coming in. We had Crypto Princess and Porky, and now we got Trade Intuition. So let's give a quick shout out to Trade Intuition. And Trade Intuition is another chartist like myself, another technical analyst that likes to look at crypto. He has about a couple thousand subscribers himself. He goes live between Monday through Friday, 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. normally. Or at least he starts at 12 p.m. Eastern time here. And he has some videos for you guys to look at on how to become a better trader and investor. And he does his YouTube shorts here as well. And like I said, he goes live just about every single day. On Saturdays and Sundays, you can catch him at 4 p.m. Eastern time. And don't forget to check his YouTube channel and give a subscribe. All right, back to the charts here. We'll look at HBAR. Let's see. All right, so we're looking at HBAR. Currently trading at 23, almost 24 cents here. Up 3.5% today. And if I just delete this out, for now, you can see like HBAR is kind of like flagging out, creating like a bull flag that it started back here in the beginning of July. Got the impulse moves up here, and we're just flagging out. All right, for the most part. Let me go ahead and put the Fibonacci back on. All right, so I have measured the Fibonacci from that 12, almost 13 cent level here. We got down to like 12.5 cents. Yeah. So like from 12.5 cents to the swing high here at like 29 cents. Gives me these Fibonacci numbers to look for here. And we're just chilling out at the 618. The 618 fib retracement level, this golden pocket. If we lose this level, we could come down to the 0.5 retracement at basically 21 pennies here. And we also have some moving averages below us to catch us from falling down here. You got the 50-day moving average at 20.5 pennies, okay? So, yeah, if you're hitting H-bar right now, you're just chilling and waiting. But you might be able to buy some cheaper H-bar at the moving average support level at like 20.5 cents or even 19.5 cents. Basically 19 to 20 cents here. Could be a good support area for H-bar. And then moving forward, if we do go to higher prices here, yeah, you get past the 786 retracement. That's acting as resistance at 26 cents. And then you're looking to see if you can get back to the highs here that you made on July 27th when you got up to 30.5 cents here. I guess I have to redraw that because this is not really saying 30.5 cents. Let me just redraw that a little bit. All right, 30.5 cents right there. Okay, good. You're good. You're good. All right. If we get past 30.5 cents here for H-bar, then you got the 1272 fib extension saying 35 cents could be a possible target later on in 2025, and then also the 1618 at 41 cents. Get up to 41 cents, you almost doubled your money in H-bar, and you should be considering clicking that sell button if you haven't done so already on this asset. Alright, we got Crypto Coin Mindset is in the chat as well, and Dave Digital, I see you guys. Let me just try to catch up on the comments here. Porky said Twitter loves Kronos today. Actually, I heard that Donald Trump got into Kronos from one of my viewers earlier. John316 said Donald Trump bought some Kronos. I think that's the reason why Kronos is going nuts today. I don't know. I guess we'll figure it out later on today what the actual reason is. In the chat, traded through Osimo Joseph. Oh, good to see you, Dave. I'm glad you were able to come join the live stream here. And thank you, Joe, for letting him know that this is a good place to come check out some good TA here. Let me give one more shout out to another YouTuber here, and that's Crypto Coin Mindset. We already looked at Trade Intuition. So let me make sure I write this. Yeah, Crypto Coin Mindset. Hopefully that comes up good. Yep. And I'm subscribed. And Crypto Coin Mindset also has a couple of thousand subscribers as well on YouTube. Check out his live streams when you can. They have kind of like a question and answer format where they take users' questions and viewers' questions, and they answer them as best as they can. That's related to crypto. And you'll also see Joe there as well from Trade Intuition. He goes on the podcast as well. Worth taking a look. I'm not sure when do you go live again? Oh no, we got Road Dog. Man, I got like it almost feels like Power Rangers over here or something like that. I got all the Rangers here. I got Crypto Coin Mindset, Road Dog, Porky, Crypto Princess. Maybe she's like the pink Ranger or yellow Ranger or something like that. I appreciate you guys coming into the live stream here. I got a bunch of YouTubers showing up here. Yeah, we just got done shouting out Crypto Coin Mindset, but then another YouTuber that's also checking out my live streams here is Road Dog. And I love Road Dog's I love his music. And sometimes I actually like his thumbnails too. But I don't know. You guys tell me what you think. Go ahead and check out Road Dog Crypto when you get a chance. He goes live just about every night, around 10:30 p.m. Eastern time is what I noticed. Sometimes he goes live during the afternoons as well, like myself. But yeah, another good chartist here. Another good guy to take a look at for your crypto currency TA. He does some videos as well. I think he did a video here about Tau. But yeah, definitely gotta check his live stream because he has some good music, and pretty funny guy to watch too. Let me see. I'm just gonna click on his last live stream here. Let's see what. Actually, which one is the good one? Because I know you were having trouble streaming last night. But let me see if I can turn the music down on my end here. But this was Crypto Road Dog's live stream. And let me see if I can obviously good music. And yeah, there he is.
And you know, on Friday I put
the turkey head guy.
And said, "Don't get too crazy. It's Friday, man." And that's where I started giving out my warnings. you can't trust these weekend pumps at all. And my plan was to take profits.
But he's another good guy to keep you guys informed about crypto and what the charts are doing. Let's see. Here's him on the charts.
Pretty gosh darn impressively accurate to help you figure out, you know, to help you kind of time.
And he loves using Fibonacci, just like me, and he does the moving five moving average strategy, like myself. So definitely worth taking a look at when you get a chance. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button for Road Dog here. All right, back to the requests here. We're looking at we gotta look at Near Protocol. Hopefully I did a good shout out there. I know Road Dog gave me a great shout out the other day, and I had to immortalize that by making a YouTube short and a TikTok out of that. But yeah, let's look at Near Protocol. Currently trading at $2.51 here, up 4.75% today. And let's see, what are we doing here? What are we doing? You can see this 200-day moving average. This red line has acted like a bully over the last few weeks, couple of months here. We have gone above it, only for us to get sent right below it again. Would be nice for us to get above the 200-day moving average and actually stay above it. Right now it's currently at $2.62, and you would think like the bar is now low enough for us to get above the 200-day moving average and actually stay above it. Because if we do get above the 200-day moving average, then I can start to become bullishly biased on Near Protocol. Right now, with us being below the 200-day moving average, I'm like, I'm a little bit bearish. Okay, I have to be bearish until we get above the 200-day moving average. Okay, once we get above the 200-day moving average, then I can start being like, all right, there's some hope here for this asset. Okay, so every time we get a little bit of hope, we get knocked down again. Every time we get some hope, we get knocked down again. And I want to see us get above the 200-day moving average, and I want to see us get some higher highs here. We have made some lower highs now here in the daily time frame. That's not good to see. However, we are making higher lows here on the daily time frame, so that's, I guess, okay. If we were to go to higher prices on Near Protocol, I have highlighted here this red line. $3.37 is a resistance area because it acted as resistance back here on May 10th, right? Also sideways trading action here back in February, earlier this year. And also this was an area that we kind of came down to almost at that level there back here in August of 2024 and September of 2024. So I think 337 just seems to be a good number for you to take profit at, especially if you bought at these lower prices here. You should consider taking profit at 337. But this is not personal financial advice. You can do whatever you want with your money. If you think Near Protocol is going to go higher than that, then sure, you can stick around for the ride. Because if Near Protocol does go to higher prices, right? Let me turn the VRVP now. Yeah, you get past 337, you got a gap in the VRVP, and you probably won't get resistance until $5, maybe $5.23. Then you got the value of your high, this white line at $5.50. And then all this is showing is this is just the prices that people were buying and selling Near Protocol back in November and September of last year. I'm pretty sure that whoever bought here and has spent a year being underwater when they see Near Protocol get back to $5 again, they're probably gonna want to click the sell button and do something else with their money, because they spent a year of being, you know, underwater here. They might decide to click the sell button and do something else with their money. So you could join them by clicking the sell button at $5, and then guess what? You basically doubled your money on Near Protocol if you bought, you know, at the price that we're at right now, and you take it up to $5. Let's see. Chris wants to look at Polkadot. And let's see. JMK is saying you have an average of 14. You think good spot. And then HDZ is asking me about Cardano. Do I think Cardano is going to go to $3 to $5? Let's see. All right, so I'll write down Cardano, and then I'll say $3 question mark. All right, and then oh yeah, $5 question mark. Okay. And yeah, what did I said Cardano, and what else I got? Polkadot. We gotta look at Polkadot. I think that's dot. Yeah, ticker. So I kind of gave you upside targets here for Near Protocol, but I didn't really look at the downside target. Like, where could this thing go if we decide to drop like a rock or have a correction from where we are right now? Just looking at, hey, you know, still using the VRVP here. You do have a point of control. This blue line at $2.50 is pretty much where you're at right now. But you start losing 240 on Near Protocol. You got a gap, and then you got some possible support here at $2.20. All right, which is an area that people were buying here back in June and July of this year, this summer. And then if you lose that level, then you get the value area low at like $2. $2 could be your support zone for Near Protocol. But yeah, I like using the VRVP, especially when I like using the VRVPs for like giving me ideas like where the downside targets might be when your moving averages are like above you. Okay. So you don't really have any moving averages to go off of on the daily time frame here to like say, hey, I could get support over here, because there is no support. But when you turn on the VRVP, then you're like, all right, yeah, okay, I see some volume right here at like 218. Okay. I mean, you could also, I mean, this is, the VRVP makes things easier, and it gathers a lot of data, especially if you're looking at a huge date range, a big time frame here. But you can also eyeball things too, and you'd be like, all right, people that bought here in June and July, right? They're probably gonna want to, they'll just be at break even if we get down to that price, so they're probably not gonna sell unless we go lower than that. So this is a good support area. You know, for those who just want to eyeball the chart, you know, even if I did this as a naked chart, you could be like, all right, yeah, this is a good support area. People were buying over here. I could possibly put a stop loss, or maybe put a buy order in at this price area right here. All right, but the VRVP just makes things easier because you got the high volume node. It shows you that. But then also, like, when you like kind of like zoom out and you got all this chart data from like all different kinds of price areas, you know, the VRVP is very helpful because it gathers all that information, all these support zones, and it puts it in a nice, easy to read format where you get, oh wait, I got a high volume node here at $2.18. So that's why I like using the VRVP. Chris, you got so many requests, man. You're always like keeping me busy here. ICP, you want to look at ICP too? Okay. All right. Let's move on. We'll go take a look at Polkadot and then Cardano. And I think those will probably be like the last requests for now, because I usually only do like a 2-hour live stream here. Oh man, we have BC Port Corp is in the chat too. I see you, BC. I'll try to do a shout out to you as well. But let's look at Polkadot first here. Yeah, look at it on Binance. What do we got here? Polkadot currently trading at $3.82 here. Why not just leave the VRVP on? Sure. Looking at all this information going back to like March of 2023, you got your point of control highest volume node here at this blue line sitting at like $4.06. Excuse me, guys. $4.06 is probably going to be a resistance area for now. If you were to get past basically $4.30, the volume drops off, and then you got the VRVP saying that there could be some resistance at 454, then another drop in the volume, and then you got some more resistance at 520. I think those are going to be your first take profit targets to look at here. Let's zoom in now, see what the moving averages are doing here. And I'll get rid of the VRVP for now. So your moving averages, most of them are above you. Yeah, actually all of them are above you. So probably the most important one out of them all is that 200-day moving average sitting at $4.14. That's going to be probably a good take profit target for you to try to sell for some profit here. I see that Polkadot is doing this. You got lower highs here. However, you have your saving graces. You're making higher lows here on the chat. Kind of like a symmetrical triangle. And you could just ping pong back and forth, you know, buy low here like you're at right now and sell at like $4.20 or that 200-day moving average at 414. Come back, do it all over again, rinse and repeat, buy again, sell. But then something needs to happen around here, because around like the end of September 21st here, you got the apex of your symmetrical triangle, and there's got to be some resolution. Are we gonna go up, or are we gonna go down, or could we just go sideways and just be frustrating the crap out of everybody? We shall see. But it seems like the end of this craziness is going to come around September 21st. If we continue respecting the uptrend and the downtrend at the same time here. But I think for now, just planning this out, like you could just put your stop loss right below these candlewick lows here at like 366 maybe. Somewhere in this area. And you're just hoping to catch the low here to higher prices. Like I said, if you're in it for the short term, if you're day trading it, you're probably targeting that 200-day moving average at 414. Just be wary of the fact that you're probably not going to make a higher high. The last high here was at 415. It would be very interesting if you did, because if that's the case, then you are making higher highs, and then this downtrend is going to be invalidated as you start going to higher prices here for Polkadot. But just plan on the fact that you're probably going to get rejected at $4.14 and then come back down and try to buy low again one more time. All right, let's take a look at BC Pork Corp. He's in the chat here. We looked at Road Dog. And I just gotta make sure, yeah, I probably gotta put a spacing there. BC Pork Corp. Hey, what is this? What is this nonsense here? Do I gotta put the letters together maybe? Oh, there we go. Better. Okay. Alright. BC Pork Corp. You guys want to take a look at BC Pork Corp. He's trying to build up his following, but he has some videos and some live streams for you to take a look at. Go ahead and try to give him a subscribe. We'll try to build up his following here. Okay? Alright. Road Dog, are you still in the chat? Because somebody here on TikTok just said that your thumbnails are thirst traps. And I don't think he's wrong either. I got a guy here on TikTok that thinks your thirst traps are, I mean your thumbnails are thirst traps. You know, his thumbnails could be worse. Okay, I can't complain about his thumbnails. I'll just keep it at that. All right, let's look at Cardano. All right, we'll take a look at Cardano. We gotta see if Cardano's gonna go to $3, right? That's the question here. Well, Cardano's at 85 cents. If it does go to $3, that'd be very interesting. I do have previous chart work here for Cardano. I'm gonna try to do a summary analysis here. Just using the Fibonacci here. Cardano, you have a 2618 that says Cardano can get up to like $1.58, and you got a 3618 that says Cardano can get to $1.98. I don't think that's gonna get you to $3. Okay, that's a big stretch in my opinion to see Cardano get to $3. Has Cardano ever been at $3? Back here in 2021, at least here on Coinbase Exchange, we saw Cardano at 288. So I don't know, could be a possibility here. But I mean, oh, actually, no, we did see Cardano at $3.09 on September 2nd of 2021. But the problem with trying to get back to $3 after you've been in a 4-year cycle like you are right now, you got token inflation. There's a lot more Cardano tokens out there than there was back in 2021. So you need a lot more money to go into Cardano than there was back in 2021 just to get yourself back to $3 here. Just keep that in mind. But sticking to some more realistic targets and more likely targets here in the near future. Yeah. Oh shoot, I didn't mean to do that. I was trying to get rid of this yellow line here. Okay. I think your 1618 could get hit for Cardano at $1.18. I know that's not what you want to hear. You want to hear higher prices. And 2618, $1.58 could possibly get hit for Cardano. Back here when we had a little altcoin frenzy, I don't know if you guys want to call it a season. I'll call it a frenzy, I guess. Back here on December 3rd, you saw Cardano as high as $1.32. So maybe anywhere between $1 and $1.50 are some reasonable targets here for Cardano. And if Cardano does get to $1.50, I mean, come on, bro. You basically almost doubled your money. Can't be happy with that. I don't know. I know some people want to see crazy gains here in crypto, but usually you have to get the crazy gains. And in my opinion, to get the crazy gains, you have to buy in the bear market when everybody is pissed off and upset with crypto and no one wants to even look at their portfolio anymore. That's the best time to buy crypto, in my opinion. And then you'll get your crazy gains where you can get like a 10x, right? That's what I did with Solana. I bought Solana at like at $16 and $20 back in 2022. Towards the end of 2022, going into 2023. And now what? We see Solana at almost $192. So that's almost like a 10x for me right there. That's how you get your sick gains in crypto. Buy during the bear market, sell during the when everybody's asking, you know, when is it gonna go to like $1,000? You want to take a look at Qubit, BC Port Corp? And I see Duali C in the chat. Good to see you, Duali. Appreciate you coming in. Yes, buy when there's blood in the streets, even if it's yours. I had a friend of mine that said that too. All right. Let's go ahead and let's take a look at. We gotta take a look at ICP. We gotta take a look at ICP first, and then we'll take a look at Qubit. All right? Okay. Let's take a look at ICP. Not ICUP, just ICP. Okay. Where is this P that you see? All right. ICP is trading at $4.99, up 2.3% today. What can we do with this chart here? What can we do? All right. Looking at the daily time frame here. Oh wow. So I have done previous chart work here on ICP, and I think what I did was I measured the VRVP here to give me some levels to look for. Yeah. So $5.48 is a target to the upside. $6.32 is a target based on the VRVP data. Then you got $7 is another high volume node, $8 is another high volume node, and $9 is another high volume node. Those are your targets for ICP, just using the VRVP here. Yeah. So I just gave you the upside targets from the previous chart work that I have here. What could be the downside for ICP here? Downside is you probably come and revisit the low here back in June 22nd at $4.31. That would hurt, right? How much of a move down would that be from where we are right now? From where we are right now down to $4.32, you got yourself like a 13% possible correction here, or possible loss here. But that don't seem so bad. That's like a Monday or a Tuesday in crypto world, right? Being down 13%. But yeah, I mean, that is your low. So maybe you could be catching the lows here for ICP. Not the lows for the year, but close enough to it. And then the upside is, you know, I think $7 is good upside target. Let's see if we get up to $7 here. You're gonna get like a 40% gain. And we have seen $7 here in ICP. We've seen $7 back here in March, earlier this year. You know, and then getting back up to $9. Can we get back up to $9? Because that is a nice target that would almost double your money. Yeah, we were at $9 back here in January. So I think yeah, ICP looks like a reasonable asset to get into here. Let's see if we can first get above that 200-day moving average before we start, you know, getting overly bullish here. That 200-day moving average at 549. That's your first target here. If you're day trading it, that's all you're looking for is can you get from $5 to $5.50, and that's like a 10% move up in price here. Put on some 10x leverage, that's a 100% move, right? But yeah, get above the 200-day moving average, and then I'll start to become bullish on this asset. Right now, I'm cautiously bullish or slightly bearish, I guess you could say, until you get above that 200-day move average. All right. Oh, hey, yeah, Road Dog. You kept my buddy here on TikTok is a fan of your thumbnails, though. Even though he thinks they're thirst traps, I think he actually likes them. He said he really likes them. Yeah. Literally, he said, I really like them, though. Yeah. So keep up the hard work on the thumbnails, Road Dog. You got some fans out here. Alright. So that's ICP. Now we gotta look at Qubit, and I think that's gonna be it for the stream here, guys. We'll finish off on Bitcoin as we normally do, and then that's it. QUBT, okay. Quantum computing on the NASDAQ. Alright. Appreciate the stock requests. We don't normally get a lot of stock requests, but I like them when I see them show up here on the live stream. Alright. Quantum computing trading at $14.92 here. Clearly above the moving averages here, except for the 21 EMA, but that's okay. That just shows that this thing is bullish. And I like the fact that the 50 is above the 100, the 100 is above the 200, so you got a nice clean bull trend going on here with the moving averages. However, it looks like you had seen some better days here on July 7th when you were trading at $21.88. Congratulations if you were able to sell at that point, because ever since then it's been lower highs. So you got yourself a downtrend. Or at least lower highs, you're creating a downtrend here. And I guess, you know, if you can get above this downtrend, then maybe you can start to become more bullish on this asset here. We had a low back here on August 20th at 1372. Not sure why we just stopped there. And maybe we got a candlewick high here around that area. Kind of, sort of, not really. Okay, we got a candlewick low here at 1362. That's kind of confluent with 1370 here. All right. Okay. So yeah, just stay above that if you can. And then 50-day moving average would provide support at 1345. So I guess you could draw out an area from like here to here as like a buy zone. You could be buying at these prices here between $13.16 and $13.70. And if you get a bounce off this level, then yeah, let's see if we can get up to higher prices. Let's get above this last daily high here of $20.11. Okay. Well, let me go ahead and draw some Fibonacci, see what the Fibonacci has to say. So we're measuring from the swing low here to the swing high, up over here at what we got, 2188. So 2188 down to here. That's what I'll call it. And Fibonacci showing that 618, very important zone to just focus on, is sitting at $15.81. You're below that. Let's try to recapture that, reclaim that level there, and then we'll move on to 1848 as your 786 retracement. And then going forward, you know, maybe later on in 2026 here, I'm not sure if it's going to get to, if we'll get up to this price here at 2025, but you got a 1272 fib extension at $26.21, and then you got a 1618 fib extension at $31.71. Has this thing ever been at that high of a price? I see a high candlewick here, high in December of last year at $27.15. Yeah, so I would target like $26, $27 as a take profit target if you're in this for the long term here on your quantum computing asset here. And I think that's it. Yeah, I mean, you've never been that high before. $26, $27 should be a good take profit target. And then of course, yeah, you got the 1618, $31. Maybe that happens in 2026, and then $47 in maybe 2026 as well. But that's what I'm looking at here for quantum computing. We covered downside targets, upside targets, right? Downside target, yeah, don't lose the 50-day moving average here. Looks like this 50-day moving average is about to get up to this 0.5 retracement, so maybe 1393 is a sweet spot to be buying quantum computing if you do come down to those lower levels there. All right, let's see. I'm just gonna catch up on my YouTube chat here. John, we're closing out the live stream here. You could try to put in that request for Pepe tomorrow. We'll take a look at Pepe. You just got to remind me to look at it. Let's see. So ICUP, then say funny colors. All right, I took profit away. I'm looking for re-entry. 50% fib is what it's consolidating on top of right now. Yeah, it looks like it's consolidating on top of that 50% retracement. But yeah, I don't know, maybe my TA is the same as yours. I mean, we're all looking at the same price action, the same charts here. But hopefully I was able to give you some new insights. If not, maybe I was able to just reconfirm the insights that you already have about this particular asset here. Anyways, that's going to be it for this live stream. Let's go finish off here on Bitcoin, and then yeah, that's going to be it. We're looking at Bitcoin trading at $110,000. Let's see what kind of candle we're creating here. We got like an indecision candle here on Bitcoin. We got just as much sell side price action to the downside as we do buy side price action to the upside here. You're seeing this candle get as high as $110,800. Why can't we get back up there? I want to see higher prices here for Bitcoin. I actually want to see Bitcoin get up to this $111,400 level here. Actually $111,591, which is where that 50-day moving average is. Because I know some moving average traders, they want to see that. They want to see Bitcoin get above 50-day moving average before they can become bullish again on Bitcoin. And then you can just put your stop loss right below the candle wick here, and hopefully we never go down here again. And then we can go to higher prices. If we go to higher prices, we're looking, first stop is going to probably be the 618 at $114,500 Bitcoin. Then the second stop is probably going to be the 786 retracement at $118,900. I can see Bitcoin get back up to that price. $118,000, $119,000 is a tough level for us to get above and stay above, because every time we get above it, we come right back below it. So maybe in the near future here, when Bitcoin gets up to $119,000, we can actually stay above it and then launch off and go to higher prices, where we could see $131,000 Bitcoin. Maybe in September, maybe after they do interest rate cuts. We'll see. They're not giving us any solid confirmation that they're going to do an interest rate cut, but if they do, I think that's what launches us up to $130,000 Bitcoin. And if they do another interest rate cut, maybe that puts us up to $140,000 Bitcoin, possibly in October, November of this year. But yeah, that's going to be it. Now I'm getting too far out with the price predictions and target dates here. We'll take it one level at a time here. Right now, we're just trying to get back up to the 618 Fibonacci number. $114,000 Bitcoin sounds a lot better than 110, right? So let's try to see if we can march our way up to $114,000, and then we'll see what the charts look like at that point. Okay. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this live stream. Go ahead and click the like button if you haven't done so already, and subscribe and follow. If you want to see some more live streams like this show up on your news feed here on YouTube and TikTok. And I will see you guys on the next live tomorrow afternoon. Take care, guys. John, I can tell you